Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
Because we have had flooding as of late. We actually have a surplus of rainfall when it comes to the last couple of months. When we just compare March up until this time, we've got a fair amount of surplus, a couple of inches. But when we just look at the state, you can see a lot of the eastern part of Texas has the surplus, while western parts remain dry. So far for just May, we're pushing 4 inches. That's what we've had for rainfall so far. Average May rainfall for the entire month is 4.9. So, we still have several weeks to go to make up for the rest of that. So we have a little bit of a surplus here, but when you consider what you have overall for the month, it is pretty significant. Now, what we're expecting going forward is more rain, of course, yet today and the next couple of days. And at this time, the models are really picking up the heaviest rainfall in the shortest amount of time to be today. And then we'll see maybe another ½ of an inch on Wednesday. But notice there's still rain chances here Thursday, Friday, and perhaps even lingering to Saturday. But those chances are isolated. Best chance for flash flooding along Interstate 35 and areas off towards the east. So that is likely. That's in that yellow area. And there you can see the rainfall, which continues to come down. The models aren't initiating very well with that current rain on top of us. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but it gives you the idea, which we feel confident in, that there will be rounds of showers and thunderstorms going forward through today as well as into tonight that could be leading to additional flash flooding. Tomorrow we have a flood risk as well, though not quite as high as today. Chris? Charles, in terms of the flooding, it was flash flooding, it was road flooding, it was homes that were taking on water, water rescues had to be placed, a lot of stalled cars happened, and a lot of damage was done. And this comes in on the heels of what was just a terrible hurricane season for these folks. It's pretty incredible to think about top 3 daily rainfall for them for a system that was non-tropical, right? We would typically expect a tropical system, but this was more rain than Laura. This was more rain than Delta, and it came in at 12.49. That was the official total. So top 3 rain event here, and those records go way back to the 1800s. And when we look at some of the rain gauges across the area, look at this, 15.84 inches on the south side of town. We also had that on the southwest side of the town, over 11 inches on the east side of Lake Charles. This is an unofficial report, but this was a Weather Underground personal weather station, 17.69 inches of rain. These are pretty accurate. So to think about that much in a 24-hour period of time, that water just had nowhere to go other than to start to pile up. Now, you're not out of the woods altogether yet. Unfortunately, Lake Charles, we still have more rainfall to come, and there you can see the forecast indicating we could get anywhere between 2 and 4 inches of rainfall still, Chris, and couldn't rule out some locally heavier amounts still.
It has been a rough year for Lake Charles, and some of these folks still, tarps on the roof. It takes a while to get to everybody's home, and there's a long wait for all the repairs that have been.
And the flood risk area is really focusing in on the south central part of the country. The next couple of days still, we have flash flood watches in effect for a good portion of really the eastern half of Texas through much of Louisiana into southwestern Arkansas and southern parts of Oklahoma. So those are all the areas at risk. How much rainfall are we expecting now between now and the end of the rest of the week? Still a lot. In fact, a large area covering 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. A few spots in here locally could reach that 8-inch plus area. But even on the periphery of all this, we could be talking about 2 to 3 inches up towards Oklahoma City. And this is on top of what we've already been seeing in terms of heavy rainfall and flooding. So the ground is saturated. It can't take on much more rain. San Antonio, Austin areas could get 3 to 5 inches of additional rainfall over the next 2 days. The risk of flash flooding then is very likely. Less likely the farther north and west you go away from these cities. Now, as we take a look at tomorrow, going to be likely again. Same spots here. We're talking about you from Brownsville to Corpus Christi up towards the Houston metro area to just east of Dallas. So these are the areas most likely to see some of this flash flooding, but still possible back into southwestern Louisiana, still possible over towards Baton Rouge, up towards Little Rock, and stretching west into the hill country and over towards San Angelo. As we take a look at the forecast for Houston, we're expecting some of the heaviest rain to be coming into play tomorrow. This is for your Wednesday, and you could see more than 2 inches. As we head into Thursday, pushing an additional inch, maybe half of an inch on Friday. Rain doesn't end until at least rain chances don't end until we head towards the weekend. We have a lot of moisture to work with. All we need is that little trigger, that little left to squeeze that out of the atmosphere.